Welcome back to Up Front and my interview with Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm. Critics have accused him of conducting a witch hunt of conservatives with the John Doe investigations. Today, Chisholm responds. Let me talk about the elephant in the room, which is your role in the John Doe investigation.
Right.
You even mentioned it in a fundraising email that I'm going to quote from it. It warns, and this is what the email says, you warn that the partisan forces who shut down the John Doe investigation are already out in force trying to stop our progress and defeat me in a low turnout election. Who are you talking about here?
Well, what we're talking about are individuals that have made it perfectly clear that they do not like the fact that I did what I was elected to do, which was to enforce the law. And what I do is I investigate cases, and I always follow the same principles when I'm doing so. And that is that we gather evidence, we do so according to the law. And so you mentioned earlier that I haven't talked about it a great deal. That's because I have to follow the law, and I can't talk about those investigations. What was troubling about this is the way that investigation was used, in my view, for purely political reasons, and a lot of lies and distortions were told about it. But we clearly followed an ethical, principled approach to it. It resulted in 6 convictions at the local level. And when I reached the end of my jurisdiction, I turned it over to an independent special prosecutor in conjunction with a bipartisan group of prosecutors throughout the state, simply to continue the investigation. And the fact that the investigation was stopped was troubling. And
you're challenged in that. You're asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the state Supreme Court action which stopped the investigation.
Absolutely, because the whole process itself was troubling, and we fundamentally believe that disguised contributions, for example, should be transparent, that everybody should follow the same rules. So that's the substantive issue that we're appealing on it. And the second issue is everybody that appears before any court should be treated fairly and in the same way. The special prosecutor was removed from his position, and then we were allowed to join as a party. So now we're the petitioners in the case, and so we delivered to the Supreme Court yesterday a cert, and we're asking them to review that decision.
I want to ask you to respond to something that was said on this program about a year ago. Eric O'Keefe, and I think you saw this interview, Eric O'Keefe, who said he was a target of the John Doe investigation, worked for the Wisconsin Club for Growth, referred to you as an unaccountable, out-of-control district attorney who had conducted abusive raids on the homes of conservatives. What's your response to that?
That is completely false, and that I was elected by the people of Milwaukee County to serve them. And you're hearing a lot of things from people that, quite frankly, don't have the guts, they don't have the courage to actually enter into elected service or public service whatsoever, but they want to manipulate things behind the scenes. And they've got plenty of money to do that, and they get frustrated when somebody has the courage and the integrity simply to stand up and say, some things are right and some things are wrong, and I'm here to serve the people of Milwaukee County. I will never bow or run away from a fight simply because somebody's going to throw a lot of resources into it and try to intimidate me out of doing what is the right thing.
You don't think those raids were abusive in any way?
Not one bit whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And do you think this will be an issue in your re-election campaign?
I do. I anticipate that it will be. And I'm more than willing to deal with that issue and all the other issues. Because again, at the end of the day, it's about leadership, experience. It's about the relationship that we have built, not just with the community, but with other officials that are responsible for public safety and the well-being of this community. And those are the people that understand my commitment to this community and the success that we've had in building collaborations and coalitions that have really made a difference. And we have a vision for the future, and that vision is that we are going to have a safer community, it's going to be a healthier community, and ultimately it's going to be more prosperous. If I can think of one thing that I'm most encouraged about, it's for the first time we're starting to see law enforcement strategies merge with public health strategies, merging with education strategies, and even with business strategies. Because what we understand clearly is that to be really prosperous and healthy, our business community and those who provide jobs, they want the same thing that our families want, which is safe neighborhoods and safe areas for their people to work.
Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm, who is running for re-election, faces an August primary. Thanks very much for your time. We appreciate it. Next on Upfront, Waukesha's water woes. The city's mayor on the request to tap Lake Michigan. What happens if that request is denied? That's when Upfront continues.